morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, everyone. Good morning. Let's start our morning service with meditation, followed by meditation. Good morning again. Hard to believe it's already mid-February. We're gathered here today to observe Nirvana or Nirvana Day. It was on February 15th, 556 BC, when Shakyamuni Buddha, while surrounded by his disciples, left his worldly life and entered into Nirvana. I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Koichi Mitsushima, Minister's Assistant at the Buddhist Church of Sacramento. Welcome. Let's start today's service with the chanting of the Sambujo, followed by the Kyogyakumo.
Nani was drinking. Pagkakawan ng ngayon. Matuloy.
The Buddhist Church of Stockton Sangha is gathered here today to observe the memorial of the passing of the Buddha, Shakyamuni, the sage of the chakras. His last words to us were, "Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Seek emancipation in the truth.
Yeah, I'm right.
Look not for assistance from anyone besides yourself. Rely on yourself and do not rely on external help. All component things are subject to impermanence and death. Consider the thing called self. Think of its transiency. How can you fall into delusion about it and cherish pride and selfishness, knowing that all, in the end, are inevitable suffering? You're always thinking about the transiency of your life. You will be able to resist the three poisons of greed, anger, and ignorance. Please join me in Dasha. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Nama. Nama.
Next, we'll have Gatha listen to his voice in the service book, page 178. The words are also included in this program, followed by three treasures.
Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of the Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Our sutra today is Jiseiye in the service book, page 95. We'll now have incense offering by the following representatives. Drama School student Carter Uemura. Drama School teacher Tad Shibata. Sangha Club Ella Uemura. Young Buddhist Association, Casey Hamamoto. Young Adult Buddhist Association, Dr. Linda Kawaguchi. Youth Athletic Organization, Derek Uemura. Adult Buddhist Association, Dolores Matsumura. Tomono Kai, Mike Shibata. Stockton Bukio Taiko, Chris Kubo. Do we have a representative here from Stockton Kendo Dojo? George Fuji. Cortez Kawakai, Dan Kubo. Stockton Buddhist Women's Association, Bev Hoka. the Buddhist Church of Stockton, Candy Heights. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to ask Reverend Candace to come up and introduce our guest speaker today.
So it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Koichi Mizushima. And Koichi, I've known him for a really long time, probably since I was in high school. And it's, again, my pleasure because he's not only a colleague of mine through the Buddhist Church of Sacramento, but also through the BCA, a great supporter of BCA and the ministers. But I will have to say that he was one of the reasons why the YBA made such a big impact on me and my involvement and why I enjoyed it so much, because being new and growing up and finally going to conferences, it can be a little bit intimidating. But when you have somebody like Koichi welcoming you into all of the different activities in Sacramento at conferences, it made me such, I think, a deep impact on me. Plus, I always have to admit this whenever I get to introduce Koichi. He was one of my first YBA crushes. So I really liked him when I was growing up, and maybe that's what the impact really was. But again, as a dear friend, it's my pleasure to introduce him. So Koichi and his wife Janet have one daughter, Ellie, and you might have seen them on some of the YouTube or maybe some of the programs that Sacramento puts on singing and their wonderful entertainment. He was the Sacramento Junior YBA advisor, and this was going back to even 1998. And he's been a minister's assistant in Sacramento since 2003, and had some teaching experience at Betsy, taught first grade Dharma school from 97 until 2003. Koichi, he graduated from UC Davis in management economics, and he was the owner of Komo Sushi from 98 to 2013. So perhaps some of you were able to enjoy going to his restaurant as well. He's currently working part-time both as the BCA youth coordinator, coordinating all of our events for the youth, including, I think, is it the second annual or third annual? The second or third annual jam? Third? Okay, so third annual jam. So it's a showcase of young performers. So if any of our young people would like to perform, please let Koichi know. And also working as the ministerial benefits coordinator, really advocating for all of the BCA ministers. He loves watching movies, enjoys music, especially with his daughter Ellie, playing cards when there's time. So without further ado, Mr. Koichi Mizushima.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And thank you so much, Sensei Candace, for that very nice introduction and for revealing our youthful secrets that we're not supposed to tell anybody, but now everybody knows. No. But it's always such a wonderful pleasure and honor for me to visit all of you. And I was telling Sensei Candace when I arrived today, I haven't been to Stockton in such a long time. I didn't realize, with the pandemic and all those things happening, it's been a long time since I was here. So when I reached the grounds this morning, I was like taking pictures like a tourist. I've been here before many times, but I was like, oh wow, the garden's so beautiful, and the facility looks so beautiful. Everything looks so wonderful here. So it's really wonderful to be here today. It feels like it's too late to say Happy New Year, huh? Do you guys still? No, no, it's not too late. Thank you. It's not too late. I mean, Happy New Year. And it's crazy because it is already the middle of February, right? It just blows my mind because it's hard for me to believe how quickly the time just floats on by. They say the older you get, that the fastest time goes. I see a lot of heads nodding out there, right? Stockton's a little different than Sacramento because since they asked me, we do a little brief talk and they call it for the kids, but it's really for everybody, right? So we do kids talk and then adult talk. So for the kids, to keep you on your toes, okay, you got to know your Buddhist jokes, okay? So you should probably know them. I'll help you out. Okay, so how many Buddhists does it take to change a light bulb? You can raise your hand if you know the answer. Today is participation day service. None. The light bulb must change from within. All right. So why did the Buddha not vacuum under the couch? Because he had no attachments. These aren't bad, right, guys? Like, you can use these. Okay, the kids are not having it. Okay, last one. You should go get this. Okay, what did the Buddha say to the hot dog vendor? Make me one with everything. That's not bad, right? It's not the word. Okay, so I'll share those with you later. You can use them at your conferences and stuff. Okay, so those jokes weren't good, but I brought with me a little special friend. It's funny because we say kids, but clearly you guys are all way too old for this, but that's okay. We're gonna do it anyway. So I brought my friend, since those jokes were no good, I brought a friend that likes to laugh at all my jokes. So I want to introduce to you all my good friend, Elmo. Hey everyone, good morning. Why Elmo? It's so nice of you to join us today here at the Stockton Buddhist Church. And I'm so happy to be here in Stockton. It's going to be a long day, guys. Well, Elmo, do you know why you're here today? Today is a very special day, isn't it? Yeah, it's Super Bowl. No, Elmo. No. Today is a very special day. It's a very special Buddhist holiday. It's Nirvana Day. Nirvana Day. Everyone loves Nirvana Day. A very secret holiday. What's Nirvana Day? Okay, Nirvana Day, as our chairperson mentioned today, Nirvana Day is the day that we all commemorate and remember when the Shakyamuni Buddha passed away. Do you remember when he passed away? A long time ago. That's right. He passed away a long time ago. Passed away on February 15th in 483 BC. Now, the BC is confusing, right? Because the bigger the number is, the further away it is from today, right? So he's born, I think it was 563, and then passed in 483. So it kind of goes reverse numbers, right? So that was about 2,500 years ago, right? Yeah. So the Shakyamuni Buddha was actually 80 years old when he passed away. So the Shakyamuni Buddha had been sharing the Dharma with everyone who wanted to listen to him for the last 45 years of his life. 45 years. Anyone that would listen? Yes, anyone. Because back in those times, religion and education, those things were only for the wealthy people and the people who had like a high rank in society. So, I never would have heard those kinds of things. I'm not a high ranking person. But the Buddha was one of the first people that would share all of his teachings with all people of all social class and of all backgrounds. Oh, so the Buddha was good at sharing. Elmo is also good at sharing. That's right, Elmo. The Buddha was very good at sharing. So as a matter of fact, one of the very first things that he did after he became enlightened was to actually share the Dharma, share all the teachings that he learned. What is Dharma? Well, Dharma is another way of saying the Buddha's teachings, right? Oh. Yeah. So the Buddha shared the Dharma. That's right. And the first group of people that heard his teachings, that actually listened to his teachings, were called the Sangha. So the Buddha shared the Dharma with the Sangha. And do you know what those three things all together are called? Oh, yes. They're called the three treasures. The three treasures. Very good, Elmo. Yep. Who likes the three treasures? Which treasure is the most important? Well, the three treasures. What do you think, Elmo? Which one do you think is the most important?
The Buddha is the teacher, the Dharma is the stuff he is teaching, and the Sangha are the people who listen to him. Elmo doesn't know. All three seem very important to Elmo.
Well, Elmo, that's actually exactly right. All three of the three treasures are equally important. And there's not any one of the three treasures that is more important than any of the other ones. So they are all equally important.
That's what Elmo thought.
Okay, so Elmo, let's review, okay? What's the special Buddhist holiday that we're celebrating today?
Nirvana Day.
Okay, so why do we celebrate Nirvana Day?
So we can remember when the Shakyamuni Buddha passed away.
And when did he pass away?
February 15th and 433 BC.
Okay, that's right. And what did the Buddha do right after he became enlightened? What did he do?
The Buddha shared the teachings, the Dharma with his followers, the Sangha.
That's right, Elmo. And so that is when the three treasures was actually born. And the three treasures, it is what brought all of us here together today. So, Elmo, I wanted to thank you for listening to me today about Nirvana Day. And I wanted to thank you for coming to the Stockton Buddhist Temple. And I hope you enjoyed being here.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay. Oh, my hand was starting to hurt so bad. I'm like, just kidding, almost real. What am I talking about? So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed Elmo's visit. Clearly, you were far too old for that. But I saw you pay attention much more to Elmo than you were when I was talking. So you guys are like, oh, wow. So I appreciated that. I appreciated you humoring me. But anyway, I just wanted to close with this thought. So please just join me in Gasho. I'll close with this very quick thought. As we think about the passing of the Shakyamuni Buddha, we cannot help but feel a deep sense of gratitude and appreciation for the fact that he dedicated his life to the sharing of his teachings with all beings on this earth. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo.
Next, we'll have Gatha, morning Gatha, and the service book, page 184, also included in this program. And it'll be followed by our pledge, which is on the back cover of the service book.
Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance, I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu.
Announcements. Reverend Shibata's online book club will meet on February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. The current read is Buddhism of the Heart. Please email Reverend Shibata or contact the office if you're interested. The 2023 scholarship applications will be available in March. So if you know of any graduates or anyone in college, please encourage them to contact the office and apply. Our home and hospital visitation is scheduled for April the 8th. If you know of someone who would appreciate a visit, please notify the office by March 15th. Sangha Club is continuing a collection of aluminum cans and recyclable plastic bottles. Donations may be left by the white bin under the carport area. Help keep recyclable bottles and cans out of our landfills while supporting one of our youth organizations. And Carrie Wong has an announcement she needs to make.
I'm Lisa. So we are proud to announce that we're going to try to resume our
We're trying to make a comeback. It's been a while.
for Tampa Bogato, so Dandelion School. We are hoping to have the camp tentative date if we have enough, or we meet our minimum of hopefully 10 to 12 or higher of kids coming, but we're hoping to have this camp tentatively July 17th through the 21st.
The age range for this year's summer camp is 6 to 11. And if you're interested in signing up, or your children, your grandchildren, or know someone who might be interested, please email me, Nisa Harita, at nisaharita@yahoo.com by March 31st. And there's also an interest sign up in the foyer. Again, we're trying to make a comeback. I think Carter was like 8 or 9 when we had to shut down, and he's now 12. So we don't know if there's children out there, grandchildren out there, but we would love to just continue Temple Pagako. So thank you very much.
Also, there'll be a little blurb in the karma as well. So we hope that we can get some kids to do our Japanese cultural summer camp this year. We look forward to trying to make it come back. Thank you.
Thank you, Carrie and Lisa. Are there any other announcements? I could put you over here.
It's coming Tuesday at 10 a.m. Tomorrow Crafts is having a class. New people are invited to join in the craft. It's coming Saturday at 1 p.m. in the church gymnasium. Stockton JCL will be having their Day of Remembrance. The film No No Girl will be shown with the director and producer in attendance. There'll be refreshments served afterwards. Next Sunday at 11:30, we will be at Thomas Teacher Center. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Are there any other announcements? If not, students are dismissed to class, and please observe good etiquette while leaving and offer incense if you haven't already done so. And the rest are asked to stay and listen to Koichi and his adult service. Thanks.
Okay, so again, it's my pleasure to introduce Koji Izushima as our guest speaker for the adult portion of the Dharma message. Thank you, Sensei.
Good morning again. This is a whole different talk to a whole different group. Anyway, thank you again for having me here. Like I said, it's always wonderful to be talked. And I think I remember the last time I was here, I think we had a family conference. Do you remember all that? It was a Northern District family conference. And I think I was here with Mike Inoue. And that was great because as Sensei Candace mentioned, the BCA Jams, that's our little BCA talent show that we do online. I actually got to know Mike better at that family conference when I was here, and I asked him to be my co-host for that event. So what a wonderful connection it all was. So it's just great to be here. So I'm sure you remember everything Elmo said this morning, right? And after this talk will be over, you'll long forget me, but you'll still remember Elmo. And hopefully you remember the Buddhist jokes. That's the most important. No, it's not. But Nirvana Day, it's interesting because when I hear the word Nirvana, without knowing anything, don't you think of Nirvana, when you hear the word like Nirvana, don't you think of enlightenment first, right? Like, I gotta reach a Nirvana or attain Nirvana. You hear it kind of used like that, right? In our everyday speech. But Nirvana actually can be translated as to extinguish. Nirvana means to extinguish. And that's why it's kind of an interesting word. And that's why we use it to celebrate this day. Because the Buddha's death on Nirvana Day deals with the Buddha losing his human life, his human form, right? And that's why they call it to extinguish, because that's when his life came to an end. And that is when he actually reached his nirvana, his enlightenment. Because in Buddhism, we are all taught, and you know this, you guys all know this, that the root cause of our human suffering, right, stems and it comes from our human blind desires. And when we say, blind, sometimes it's because those desires aren't even desires you can control. We've been taught that we have all these desires, but like, if you're hungry, you desire to eat, right? That's not like a good or bad thing. That's just simply part of being human, right? Like right now, you desire for this to be over, and I understand that. That's not good or bad. That's just, you can't help it, So part of the teachings are, our human desires are something that is attached to this human body, right? It's attached to our human body. And being like human nature, it has to do really being connected to this human body. So when this human body no longer exists, or this human life is extinguished, that's when our dukkha, or our suffering, will also truly be extinguished. Because then it will have nowhere else to live, right? We can't live without this human body. So as you know, there are a couple of Buddhist holidays, right, that commemorate the death of very important people. Of course, Nirvana Day, that's what we're talking about today, the historical or Shakyamuni Buddha. Does anyone know of another Buddhist special service that we commemorate or honor somebody that's important in our tradition, someone passing? Anybody know? Yeah, right, I heard it, Pongo, right. She's like, well, I didn't say that. Yes, Pongo, right? So that's Shinnan Shonin, right? Shinnan Sama is Shinnan, everybody knows who Shinnan is, right? Shinnan's the founder of our sect of Buddhism, right? So Shinnan branched off, went to Mount Ye, studied under Honen, studied for 20 years, right? Couldn't find his answers, and he branched off, and this is how Jodo Shinshu was kind of born after he passed away. So I understand why we celebrate Shinnan, but sometimes I think about why do we celebrate Shakyamuni Buddha as the historical Buddha? I know that seems obvious. Well, because it's the historical Buddha, right? But what I think is interesting is there were actually many Buddhas in history before the Shakyamuni Buddha, before Siddhartha became Shakyamuni Buddha. There were Buddhas before, because as we study and we read, it talks about many kalpas ago, right? Many kalpas ago, there lived this Buddha, that Buddha, Lokesh Maharaja was one of them, right? Like there's a bunch of different enlightened Buddhas before the Shakyamuni Buddha. So why then is the Shakyamuni Buddha the actual historical Buddha? So this is this is not a formal teaching. This is my interpretation. I'm going to share with you. But I believe what made the Shakyamuni Buddha forever known as the historical Buddha and the Buddha that we all know as the first Buddha is because, as Elmo mentioned, it has to do with the three treasures. So although there are enlightened beings before Shakyamuni Buddha, there are people that lived in this human form and attained their enlightenment. Although there are people like that existed before, I believe those people never made the connection to the Sangha. They only had two of the three treasures. In other words, they became a Buddha, which means awakened one or enlightened one. They shared their Dharma, but maybe they didn't share the Dharma in a way that resonated or connected or had meaning with anybody else. So to me, that's really, really important because it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how successful you are or what your title or your rank is. Because ultimately, if you cannot make a connection with your fellow human beings on this earth that we all live together with, if you can't connect, if you can't be meaningful, then all of that knowledge, all of that, everything that you have inside of you doesn't matter, really, right? It doesn't really matter. Don't we all know a lot of successful people? We know a lot of people that are very successful, very smart. Maybe we use wealth as a measure of success, right? Or title or whatever it is. But that doesn't always mean that those people can connect with others. And if those people are so high, so high ranked, so up there, and if they only benefit themselves, to me, I always think, what's the point? Because they can't spread what they know. They don't share what they have, and that dies with them. That becomes extinguished with their lives. So to me, what set the Shakyamuni Buddha apart from those other Buddhas that came before is that the Shakyamuni Buddha was one of the first to share and really connect in a way that made an impact on people. And as Elmo mentioned, the Shakyamuni Buddha was willing to share with anyone. And I know that doesn't seem like a big deal today, right? Today, we're all about equality, right? Equality, inclusivity, we use these words all the time, right? Especially in Buddhism, in Jodo Shinshu, we include everyone. No one is excluded. But back then, you got to remember, 2,500, almost 2,600 years ago, it was a very different time. It was a very different world. And people, especially in India, they were very separated. There was a caste system. The untouchables, I would have probably been in that one for sure. The untouchables, the lowest class, and they had many different classes. So for the Buddha to share this type of education, this religious teaching, it was revolutionary. So that's something I want us to remember when we think about this Nirvana Day as well. So have you all, of course you all have, you've attended funerals. Everyone here has been to a funeral. Everyone here has experienced a funeral. So when I attend a funeral, I always reflect and I think, isn't it interesting that when you get to that part of the funeral, they have the remembrances, right? They call it the remembrances when family members or friends, coworkers, they'll come up to the podium and they will share their feelings about the person that has passed. And of course, in the remembrances, you refer to someone by their career, what they did, little things like that. Like Sensei Kanda says, oh, he used to own a restaurant. Those are kind of career things. However, However, when you really get into it and really start talking about the person and sharing about the person, you don't talk about, oh, I'd like for you to remember Koichi Mizushima. He lived in a house that was 1,800 square feet. He made this many dollars per year, right? They don't ever say that kind of stuff, right? He had a Honda Accord, XLE, whatever, right? Nobody talks about that kind of stuff when you're remembering a person, right? Yet those things are the things that so many people aspire for, right? They aspire for those kinds of things to find meaning in their lives. But when you really talk about the memory of a person and what was important about them and what you want all of us to remember, you don't talk about that, right? You talk about the things that they did that touched you. You talk about funny stories and funny things that they did. And you talk about emotional things that they did, these memories from long ago, like Reverend Candace sharing the YBA, our YBA, meeting. Those are just impressions that made a difference to people. They're emotional connections, right? And those are the things you remember more than anything else about what type of clothes they own and stuff like that. So I think it's so important that we remember that it's those types of things that you have shared, that they have shared in their lives with others. The sharing and the connection is what is the true important measure of a person's life. And so the other realization that we make on Nirvana Day when we hear Nirvana and enlightenment, I realize it's very full well that most regular people, we can't attain enlightenment in this human life, in this human form, because of what I mentioned before, right? We have those desires, we have those blind passions, we have those things. So it's very, very difficult for us to truly attain enlightenment the way that the Buddha did. So my personal goal in my studies of Buddhism and as I study, my personal goal is not at all to attain enlightenment. That's not what I strive for at all. What I strive for is understanding. I strive more to understand why we are all imperfect, why we are all faced with our suffering. And that's okay, because despite our imperfection, my goal is to just move on and continue to improve and learn and share. Okay? Like you make your bed every day. You make your bed every day. Why? Just to get messy again, right? I'm sure you guys have said that. Well, I gotta make my bed. It's a little messy anyway, right? Well, I gotta comb my hair. It's too messy anyway. Why do I have to take a bath and shower? Well, you know you gotta do that. Okay? You don't ask that one. But why do we do these things every day? Why do I eat right now? I'm just gonna get hungry again, right? But this is what it means to live a human life, right? You don't do these things thinking, oh, why do I eat? You don't even think of that, because it's not like the goal is not to be full. The goal is just to experience what you're doing and just to live each and every day. So the goal in life isn't to get to a certain point, it's to enjoy the journey, to enjoy that path. And like I mentioned at the very beginning of the talk, right? I can't even believe that we're already almost halfway through February already. I mentioned time passes so quickly. I just turned 50 last year. And I understand 50 is that weird age where to some people it may seem young, and to some people it may seem really old, right? But it's interesting because for me, I just where did these 50 years go? When Sensei Candace and I were in YBA, we were sitting right over there. And now that I look at you, I'm like, oh, I can't even remember that time. That seems like ancient history. It was ancient history, huh? But I can't even remember how long ago that was. Yet here we are. Here we are. And it's just an amazing thing. My knees aren't as good as they were. Even us, as we struggle to climb up these stairs, we're making noises coming up to, I didn't do that when I was your age. I run around this thing, no problem. But your knees get bad. This is the other worst thing that's happened since Zoom. We're on Zoom right now, but when you're in a Zoom meeting and we close our music show, not those, and I bow my head, it gets right in the corner. My bald spot is recorded on all the Zoom meetings. And I'm like, when did I even get that? I didn't even know. So that has changed, is it not? That is impermanent. So anyway, time keeps moving forward. And I often wonder, am I even wiser? Am I any wiser today than I was 10 years ago? Or even 20 years ago when I was running my business or, doing those things? Am I any wiser? But to me, even that is not the most important thing to me. Because what I do know that each day of my life involves just moving forward. And I just put forth an effort just to be a little bit better than yesterday, So I don't have to worry about hitting these markers and hitting these goals. I'm like, you know what? Let's just try to do a little bit better than yesterday. And that's all we got to worry about. And that to me is the real meaning of Nirvana Day. It's the realization that enlightenment doesn't come in this human form, this human life. So instead of focusing on attaining a certain goal or destination in this life, I will focus on the journey of this life, the living part, the day-to-day living, because it's the journey that defines your life, not the stuff you get along the way. So share your journey, share your life with as many people and friends and family and acquaintances as you can. And more importantly, try to help other people along their journey as well. Because why not? We're all on this journey together. Why not make it a little more fun? Why not make it a little more enjoyable for everybody else on this road together? Because that's the only time you'll truly discover the beauty of living a human life. And if you're living your life right, if you're walking your journey right, you won't even remember where you're trying to go. But you'll certainly remember all of the wonderful stories, memories, and feelings of what happened along the way. Not long ago. Not long ago. Not long ago.
Thank you, Koichi, for your wonderful Dharma message and of course being with us today. And thank you everybody for your kind attendance today. And if you haven't had a chance to do so before you leave, please offer incense before you leave and enjoy your Super Bowl Sunday. Thanks so much, everybody.
Okay, good. That's not as bad as I The hard drive's full, you know what I mean? Yeah. I think you're weak, though. Thank you so much for thank you. Yeah, I see you on tab. Yeah. That was what
Did you write with them? Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's okay. That's, I mean, I forewarned them. Yeah, okay, we'll make it.
They said they wanted to hang out.
Everything's beautiful.
Hi, Alex. Good to see you.
I won.
But I was expecting, yeah.
I had to stay out because they said, you know,
I'll just go shopping.
Oh, no, both.
Thank you for attending today's service. We'll be ending our broadcast right after this. Thank you.
I sent Sensei all the information.
I didn't hear. Oh, thank you. Good morning.
Yeah.